Hello and welcome to Sunday. It's pretty late, but we've had a fun, long day. I ended up waking up around 11, and well, it's been kind of tiring, but we did a bunch of stuff today. More importantly, this week I finished writing a review about an album that meant a lot to me back in the day, and well, I really wanted to get it up for tomorrow, so I got it ready, and it's should be live and in the description when you see this. And that album would be AJR's The Click Deluxe Edition. I actually have the original edition here as well, I think. Yes. I love the deluxe edition colors. It's just purple versus like the actual like yellows here, but the deluxe edition has a bonus 7-inch disc that comes with 4 extra songs, and they actually did release a limited edition deluxe edition at some point. I think it was last year, but I didn't know and I didn't pick it up, unfortunately. But that's fine. I have these two, and that's good enough for me. I might pick up the limited edition variant at some point, but that's neither here or there. Let's talk about the album proper. So, AJR's The Click came out in 2017, June 9th, 2017. But this album kind of has a little different meaning to me. I wanted to write about it for one reason, and that was because 5 years ago, as of today, I graduated from college. I got my bachelor's degree, and the graduation ceremony was on May 19th, 2019. And I was driving to my school, and as I was driving, I was playing this album. I was playing The Click in my car, and my family's in the back seat. We're driving there. We're having a good time, and I'm listening to this, and the song that came on, Turning Out part 1, or just Turning Out here, that kind of broke me. Like, I literally started crying in the car, and I was like tearing up and kind of like getting, and I'm trying to hide it from the family and be like, yeah. I'm like having such a reaction to the song, and it was intense. It was something, right? So yeah, I wanted to kind of talk about that and just kind of relate this experience to this album, and seeing as it's been 5 years since that, I was like, why not celebrate such an occasion, right? So let's start at the beginning. So AJR released the album Neo Theater on I believe it was April 2019, and I have 3 copies of it here because of course I do. They had a signed black vinyl, which came, so this has the black vinyl, but I swapped it for a blue. I bought a blue vinyl, but because they signed the cover, and these are functionally identical, I believe these are all identical covers. They don't have any other information that would make them seem otherwise. I just swapped these things, so now I have a signed blue vinyl, which is extremely rare. They also had a clear one, so I picked that up as well. But now I have these 3 funky little albums, right? But yeah, so my partner at the time introduced me to AJR. I remember chilling in her room at the time, and you're like, "Oh, have you heard about this album or this band?" I'm like, "No." So I put it on, and it was I was immediately struck by it. I'm like, "Oh, this is fun. This is really good." And then it was April. We had listened to it a bunch that month, and then May, and it just became one of our staple bands that we would have play music with, or play when we were together, and it was a great time. One of the first reviews that I wrote was on Neo Theater, and It was I think it came out in 2020 that when I wrote that review, but I started writing it uh, that summer, like May, June 2019. And like I had written about it for a while, and like it finally came out. But I wanted to kind of talk about The Click because, like I said, it's puts me back into a time where um, it it heavily affected me. I when I listened to this initially for the first time a couple weeks ago for this review, I wanted to put my mind in that time period, like what it was like for me, summer 2019, spring 2019, gearing up, getting ready for college, like getting ready to graduate, just like in that relationship, listening to this music, and like I did have such a visceral reaction again, and it's like I'm glad that I can like do that, especially with music. Wonderful thing. But yeah, I haven't really listened to AJR too much since then, despite owning 4 copies of OK Orchestra. I don't have any copies of Living Room, but I also have 2 copies of The Maybe Man, and yeah, I think I have a few other CDs as well. But I was kind of excited for OK Orchestra. Then I kind of fell out of love with them because it's just like I don't know. I just don't jive with the music as much as I did. Um, New Theater and the Click amazing albums themselves. OK Orchestra is a bit lower, and then the Maybe Man I just didn't again click with too much after. But let's talk about the Click. So the Click, in the Click and I think OK Orchestra, they had like overtures, and especially in Living Room too. Like they had overtures to start the album. It's just a super super cool way to introduce an album. Like having little samples from each other's song in the piece in the album collectively, having that happen. Like a typical overture just has themes from the rest of the symphony. So it's a really strong and like incredible way to start off an album. Good stuff there. AJR is a hometown band. They were born and raised in NYC. They got their start busking. They made their breakout hit I'm Ready off of Living Room, and then the Click is just so much more, and the band really got into their like selves with this album. The good part is the first track after the overture. It has a weird history where it blew up on Instagram in like 2021, and that feels so long ago. I remember seeing that in my subfeed. I'm like, what is happening? And like it's just all about like, hey, they just want to skip to like the best part of life and like experience that. But also, like, if you think about Neo Theater, Next Step Forever is kind of like wanting to experience that build up as opposed to having the good part. Really interesting stuff. I'm gonna be weird with this review. Weak, probably one of their number one hits. Really strong song. I don't really like the way Jack goes like bad for me when he says doing the one sip, one hit, one kiss thing. It's really fun. Trumpets are on display, dubstep is on display. The band has a great breakdown of their production of that on their YouTube channel. Sober Up featuring Rivers Cuomo. Weezer is an iconic band. They were super happy to have produced with him. It was really cool seeing that happen. And hearing about that. Rivers is just amazing dude. I haven't listened to much of Weezer, but it's good stuff. Drama is a very, very fun song. I really like that one. It's just them talking about political issues and like wanting to focus on political issues versus like celebrity gossip and celebrity drama. Turning Out, the song that really broke me. The line, I'm a little kid with so much doubt. Do you want to be there to see how I turn out? Ooh, that hit me. And looking at what I wrote, it's just like, it's a song about like not feeling you're ready to tackle the world. And I wrote here, despite being a college graduate, I still felt like a kid. Only 22 years old, was I really ready to take on the world, or was I just still turning out? And oh boy, it was intense. No Grass Today is just a complete 180. It's like whole different thing. the band has this technique that they call spoke step, where it's like dubstep, but they like have vocals and they like kind of chop them up and like do weird, funky things with them. And you done? Cool. You know, it has like a weird kind of dubstep feel, and like it's really on display on No Grass Today, a song about marijuana legalization. You know, the band doesn't really jive with it, but they, if you jive with it, that's cool. Stay cool. Call My Dad. It's a very simple song. Like, you know, they were feeling homesick. He went to a party, and even after trying to go to a party, he just felt more homesick. So he wanted to call his dad. Pretty acoustic, pretty short, fine little song. I'm Not Famous. Great little one. Where the band is like, hey, we're not famous. Let's make fun of that. Let's see all the dumb and weird stuff we can do. Good stuff. Netflix Strip, very unique song. One that I feel like can't really be, like, it's super unique. It's a song about associating your life with a show. You know, a show that was super big. You know, I feel like something that we don't really get to talk about nowadays because, you know, streaming services, there's no really like one show that everybody latches onto. You know, back in the day it was like The Office. I remember Game of Thrones was super huge. Whatever HBO show is on, I guess, is like what you latch onto. But you know, having a serial, like, kind of sitcom kind of style mockumentary where it's just like, oh, this is on every week, this is like a phenomenon, everybody loves this show. You know, you watch this show growing up as a kid on TV, and you know, you have memorable moments where it's like, oh, this core memory in my life, you know, whether it be a death or whether it be a first kiss or having a crush on somebody, you can associate that with a show that's, you know, everybody knows because it was such a big part of life. And having, you know, streaming services, The Office was there, people watched it on Netflix. Being able to like kind of associate, like, oh, this moment in my life was during this time, this episode of the show is airing, everybody knows this episode, or everybody knows this series. It's a very unique thing. It's really cool. And I'm not doing justice explaining it. It's like, you know, you're watching the show, you're presenting your life in parallel to a show that, you know, was also going on. Like, it's a story progressing, your story's progressing. It's a very neat concept that I don't think can be done too well nowadays, but it's super interesting. One of the really great songs, another song that uses spoke step is Bud Like You. It's basically two people just like donking on a party and like hating it. Be like, why are we here? Why are we doing this? You know, like, oh, who are these people? It's just like making fun, making like mutually hating something. They're just having fun. Come Hang Out, another super strong closer to the album. It's about the band struggling to find balance in their lives with trying to hang out with friends versus like being on Elvis Duran in the morning. The FM radio show that I listened to a bunch growing up because, you know, they were on, like, alarm came on at like what, 6-7 o'clock in the morning. It's what my cousins listened to. We grew up listening to it. We listened to it on the radio to school. And that kind of wraps up the original edition. But now we're left with the deluxe edition, which has 4 bonus tracks. Burn the House Down, best song on the album by far. Role Models, Normal, and then Pretender. So Burn the House Down is kind of became a political anthem. It was supposed to be part of the movie Super Size Me 2, Holy Chicken, but it didn't work out, so it kind of became like a weird political anthem, and it's a super strong and incredible song. Really good. Next up is Role Models, a very acoustic song that's just guitars, trumpets, and ukulele. It's about like, hey, the role models that I once used to look up to are now on TV for the wrong reasons. Whether it's just like bad stuff, right? Normal is another kind of acoustic ballad kind of thing where it's only pianos and vocals, and it's just like what it's like they're getting further and further away from like the friends in their life they knew, missing parties or events or birthdays or what have you. They're trying to determine if this is the life they want to leave, pursuing it and becoming musicians, and, you know, touring versus just like staying home and having a normal job where you know you have friends and family that you can just like be with. And then finally, closing track would be Pretender acoustic. Pretender is a song that AJR wrote, but you know they it was unfinished and it was supposed to be on this album, but it didn't work out. So a DJ, Steve Aoki, got in touch with them and was like, "Hey, do you have any demos?" And they sent over Pretender. They got Lil Yachty on it, and you know, it just became like a really cool song that on was it Neon Future 3? Really fun like song about what it's like trying to just like, you know, hide your real self from your peers, just like make up a lie about what's going on to fit in the popular crowd. The acoustic version is just the band, is just AJR, so I'm not so sure which one I prefer. I think I prefer the original, but the acoustic is pretty solid itself. I go back and forth, but I think at the moment I prefer the I think as of today, I prefer the acoustic, but again, it changes with the day depending on what I listen to. So yeah, that's the album proper. I really went into this review cynically, where I feel like I've outgrown the band, right? You know, I loved Neo Theater on release. I loved The Click back when I first heard it, but as I got older, my taste kind of changed to punk. I just felt like I didn't jive with the band anymore. I didn't really like these two albums that came after, and you know, it was at a time in my life where this is the music that I kind of needed, right? You know, like this album was made for, you know, people in their early 20s, mid 20s, and I guess late 20s to an extent. But it was made for that demographic, and that's what I needed, and that's what I wanted, and this really resonated with me. And you know, it's one of the few songs that have made me cry. I know that, like, is it here? No, it's on one of the other shelves. But Jeff Rosenstock's "We Cool," "Hey Allison" kind of like gave me like panic attack kind of thing, and I realized that I've been talking too long. And another song would be that made me cry. I think this first one that ever did would be "Puppets Just You" off of the Fierce Fleeting EP, and it's just like oof. But yeah, this is a very intense album. It's very, very, very good, at least for me, and it brings me back to, you know, 5 years ago where I was, and I'm grateful that I'm able to like relive that moment. And you know, I didn't think I'd look back on this album with rose-colored glasses. Like I wanted to be harsh on it, but you know, it's good. It's a very solid album. 8 out of 10 I gave it, and you know, it's incredible. Like that's really all I can say. Yeah, it's for people who are still turning out, and to an extent, I think I will always be turning out. Okay, I've been rambling on for long enough. I've got like a minute of recording left, so that's what I'm gonna call it for today. Link down below to the review, and yeah, I have too many references on here. Yeah, way too many. So go watch those, go read those articles, and yeah, catch you tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you tomorrow. And until then, later.